Okay.
All right, here we go. So go ahead.
So I've been working on a little bit of everything because I have testing in 2 weeks.
Okay.
And so I've been working on doing solve and graph inequalities.
Okay.
But for some reason, I don't know, I don't know, I'm getting confused.
Okay. So one thing I can tell you is that you probably won't have to graph them, but let's make sure we know how to. Um, Let me find a worksheet for inequalities real quick. So what you want to remember is inequalities are just like solving an equation, right? But
Yes.
what you do with the inequality afterwards, right? So let me see if I can find a problem real quick. You go one right. That's was the problem I had. Let me find one. Hold on. Let me go. Can you see my screen, or did I share my screen yet?
No, you haven't shared it yet.
Okay. Let me see. Go. Okay. How about now? You see it now?
No.
Still don't see it. Okay. How about now?
Yes.
Okay.
It just
Good.
came on.
Good.
Yeah.
So this is a bunch of different inequalities. They go from easy to hard. Now you're gonna have two type of inequalities on your GED exam. You're gonna probably have a word problem, and then you're gonna have an explicit problem, right? But I want to show you some different. Let me show you. Let's do number 3.
Number 3.
Let's do number 8.
Number 8.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Let me
make
go
them.
with you.
Let me make it nice and big here. Hold on. 3 and 8.
Okay. I invited my daughter-in-law to join us. So she's trying to get her GED too. So she may be logging on here in a minute.
No problem at all. So when we look at number 3, right? What we notice
Yes.
is first of all we look at the variable. So when you're solving inequalities, there's two things I want you to remember. First of all, if you multiply when you're trying to isolate the variable, if you multiply or divide by a negative number, you switch to inequality. If the
When you multiply and you divide, you switch the equality, right?
if you multiply or divide by a negative,
Okay.
you switch to inequality. I'm gonna show you an example. Or if the variable is on the right side. So in this case, if you look at number 3, I chose that because the variable is on the right side. Right. So I'm gonna write down here we got -1 less than or equal to 2n minus 1, right? Because +4 minus 5 is -1, right?
Yes.
This is a bad example because they're gonna cancel each other out. All right, let's not do that one.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me find one. All right, let's do -2 That's +2 +2 +6 -4. All right, that's good. Let's look at number. We said 8 first, right? Look at
Yes.
number 8. -2 That's +8 +8. Okay, that should be good. That's gonna work out. All right. So we look at number 8, and first of all, we're trying to solve for the variable, right? So remember, you want to isolate the variable. So first, we gotta get rid of -3. So we subtract 3 from both sides. You're gonna have -2 times n minus 4 is greater than -4. You understand that, right?
Yeah, because yeah, that cancels out, right?
Mm-hmm.
The 3, and then you okay, yes.
Okay. The next
Yeah.
thing we're going to do is we're going to use the distributive property. So we have -2n plus 8 is greater than -4. So we multiply the -2 times n, and the -2 times the -4. Two negatives give you a positive. Understand that?
So that's gonna be a negative. So you're doing -2 times n, which is a 1, right?
No, -2n. Why did you say 1?
Because isn't there like an invisible 1 in front of
Right,
the
right, right. So -2 times 1 is -2. Right.
okay, I'm with you.
So that's where we got the -2n.
Okay.
Then -2 times -4. So -2
Okay.
times -4 gives you a +8. Good?
Okay. Yeah,
All right.
I'm with
So
you.
now we're going to subtract 8 from both sides. And I'm going to have to move over here so we have enough room. So we get minus
Okay.
2n. The 8's cancel. Greater than minus 12. Understand that?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this is where it's important. In order to solve for n, because n is being multiplied by -2, we have to divide by -2 because the opposite of multiplying by -2
Yeah. So
is
you'll
dividing by
do
-2.
divide over -2 on this side too, right?
Exactly.
And then
Now,
that'll cancel out and you bring the n down, right? But
that's
this is where
important.
you're
Yeah,
talking about
exactly.
you flip the sign over, right?
Right. So
Yeah.
now this becomes less than 6.
So -12 divided by -2
Is a
is
positive
6.
6.
Yeah. Okay. And that's
So
our answer,
n
right?
is less than 6. So now if I was graphing this, it would be an open circle. Since it's less than, an arrow to the left.
Okay.
So let's go
Okay.
check it. Let's go check it to make sure we're right. We're looking at number 8. So this is why I always include the answers with my number
That's
8,
right. I need to get back on
open
your
circle,
website.
open circle, arrow to the left.
Okay.
Now, so that's with the negative. Now I want to find one with the variable on the right side. The variable on the right side without like being 0. Okay, let's look at number 4.
Number 4. Okay.
Mhm. Okay. So first of all, we're going to combine like terms. We get -6 is greater than 5n plus 9. Understand that?
So the like terms is the +5 and the +4, and those combined equal 9, right? And then we
Correct.
just drop everything else down.
Correct.
Okay. I'm with
Now,
you.
so remember when solving an algebraic equation, in this case, the algebraic inequality, our whole purpose is to get the variable by itself. So when we look at this right side of inequality, we have two terms, 5n and plus 9. Since I'm trying to get the term with the variable by itself, I need to get rid of plus 9.
So we get the constant by itself, right?
That's no, we're trying to get the variable by itself, so we got to get
Oh,
rid of plus 9.
okay. So then we'll do a -9 on that side too, and that cancels out.
So what's
So then
-6 minus 9?
-6 -9 is a -15.
Perfect. It's greater than 5n.
Yeah, and then
Right?
that cancels out. Yes.
Now, to
So
get the
then
n, tell me,
we'll divide here, right?
divide by what?
By 5.
By 5. Whatever we do on one side,
Do on the other side.
we do on the other. Okay?
And then that cancels out.
And
So
let me
then
go ahead.
-15 divided by 5 is a -3. So
Hmm.
let me see. So -3 is,
So hold on, do one step at a time. So -3 greater than what happens to the two fives?
oh, those cancel out
So we left with what?
with n only.
Okay, now this is the second part I was telling you about.
Okay.
When the variable is on the right side, you switch the two terms. So n comes on the left, -3 comes on the right, and then you switch the inequality. So
Switch the
greater
sign.
than becomes less than. So your answer is n greater than -3.
So the pointy side is always to the variable, right?
No, no, no,
The
that doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
No, no, no.
Oh, okay.
So no, so
Hello.
because because hey Javette, if you look at this right here, the pointed side is to the variable.
Okay.
That doesn't mean anything. So that sign is less than. That's
Okay.
all that means. Less than.
Okay, because I kind of get confused which way. Okay, I see. I get it.
So now what happens is, so for example, if we got 5 is less than 7, right? So one way you can think about it, this is a fish. Fish always eat the biggest number. So it's always eating the biggest number. But you can't tell that with a variable because you don't know what the variable is. It's an unknown.
Okay, I
So
got you. That
this
makes
way
sense.
is less than, that's less than, this way is greater than. But that's
Okay.
how you saw. So it's two reasons why you switch that inequality. So if you multiply when you're trying to isolate the variable, if you got to multiply or divide by negative, that switches the inequality. Or if the inequality is on the right side, I can almost guarantee you when they give you that explicit problem on the GED, you're probably gonna have to do both.
Okay, and that's gonna be an open circle, right?
Open circle, because it's greater
Okay,
than. If it was greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to, then it would be a solid circle.
yeah, okay.
All right, so let's try to look at one more. Let's look at there's a negative right there. So let's look at number 9. So again, I'm gonna use distributive property. What's minus 5 times 1?
-5 times 1 is a -5
What's negative 5 times a negative 4a?
times a -4. It's gonna be a 20, a positive 20.
We bring a variable along with us. 20a is greater than minus 5. So Adelina and Javette, do you understand that first step? First step when we use the distributive property.
Yeah,
Yes.
I still get kind of confused with the negative and the two negatives or
So
like
this is all you got to remember. When you're multiplying or dividing sign numbers, same sign positive, different sign negative. That's it. So
same
every
side,
time you
sign
so
positive, different
when you're
sign.
multiplying or dividing sign numbers. So here, the distributive property, I'm multiplying that -5 by everything inside the parentheses.
Right.
Since we're multiplying, I got a -5 times 1. Well, they have two different signs. I know my answer is negative. So -5. 5 times 1 is 5. So -5. -5 times -4. I'm multiplying. They had the same sign. So my answer is going to be positive. 5 times 4 is 20. 28.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Got me?
I got you.
Okay. So we got -5 plus 20a is greater than -5. So again, we're trying to isolate the variable. So on the left side of the inequality, I got two terms. I got -5 and I got 20a. Which term do we want to get rid of first?
The -5,
The -5. What's the opposite of -5?
+5.
+5. Whatever we do on one side, oh
Do on the
God,
right side.
it came out to 0. I hate these problems that come out to 0. Ah,
So
ah.
that'll cancel out and then -5 um +5. Yeah, that's 0.
So what I don't like about this is a is greater than 0. So I mean, I don't know. Too many of these problems work out to 0. I hate when they do that. So let me try to find another. I should have before I did them in my head real fast.
I want to be like you, do it in my head.
Let's see. Plus k plus 3 minus 3 plus 4 minus 2. Okay, we can do 7.
Okay, 7.
So I'm just going to walk through it. So the negative is on the outside. Again, a lot of times on the GED exam, when you're combining terms, they will have a negative on the outside, just by itself. And I'll show you an example of that. Anytime you see a negative on the outside, you just change the sign of everything inside. So I got plus k, plus 3, plus 2. So minus, that becomes a positive k. Minus on the outside, that becomes a positive 3. So I got 7 less than k plus 5. All I did was combine these two. 3 plus 2 is 5. In order to get k by itself, I need to get rid of that plus 5. So the opposite of plus 5 is minus 5. Whatever I do on one side, I do on the other. So I'm left with 2 is less than k. Again, k is on the right side. So I'm going to switch the 2. Let me change my colors. I'm going to put the k on the left. I'm going to put the 2 on the right. And I'm going to switch this inequality from less than to greater than. Because it's not equal to, it's an open circle at 2. Since it's greater than, arrow to the right. So what we do then is we go check. So what I would tell you to do is as you're practicing, after you do a problem, go check your answer. If I have the answers available. So let's go to it was number 7, k greater than 2. Look at number 7. It don't have an answer, but it's because of graph. But look at that open circle at 2.
Yeah.
Just like we had. Open circle, arrow to the right. So look at that. See? Perfect.
And where is these questions at?
Oh, so this question, I just downloaded this from the internet. I do have this link on my website though. It's called CUDA Software. Okay, CUDA Software is an incredible site to practice. Now I do have inequalities. I do have a lot of stuff on my site that will give you. So the thing I like about my site is you'll get instant feedback. You'll know whether it's right or wrong. But CUDA, if you download, will also give you the answers. So one thing I like about CUDA, if you notice, if you look at number one, it starts it starts with inequalities. They get easier, but then as you increase, as you work more and more, they get harder and harder. Okay.
So do you
So what I'll
think,
do is
okay,
I'll download this, and when I put the video, when I send the video in the email, I also send that spreadsheet. Send this worksheet. And what's your question?
so do you think that, how many do you think we'll see these in the GED test? Maybe about 2 or 3 of them?
Maybe 2. If you get 3, you may get 3, but I wouldn't. You know what I mean? 2 or 3 is still enough to where I thought I opened. So I've been helping with pre-calculus, calculus. I've been tutoring a lot, but let me find out. So if you notice, you'll see pre-calc up here, calc, all that kind of stuff, college algebra. But so
Can you send me your website again? Because I think since my husband got sick, I kind of lost track of that.
okay, I'll send you a link.
Yeah,
Alright, so
can you send it to me too, Mr. Timothy, please?
So let's look at this right here. Let's see if they got inequalities on this one. Let me see. Let's see. I don't know. I think they got word problems here. Let's see.
I think I have it down.
Yeah, so here they got a word problem for inequalities. Let's see if I got an explicit inequality. No, they don't. I should know this like the back of my hand. I should know whether they got. Nope. So what we'll do is we'll do that word problem. Because a lot of people have problems with word problems, correct? So let's look at it. Right? Now, an inequality is a linear equation. It just has multiple solutions. So this says solve inequalities in real world problems. So, right, when you read this, Isabella saved 15,000 with a car that costs 12,700. Insurance for the car costs 600 per year. How many full years will Isabella be able to pay for car insurance with the remaining savings? They want you to set up a inequality. So they want you to say, okay, 12,700 plus 600 plus 600 times some variable. So we'll just call it years, call it Y. 600 because it's $600 per year. That per tells you when that variable is going to be used because it could change. So 600 times the first year was 600. 600 times the second year will be 600 times 2 is less than or equal to 1,500 or 15,000.
I'll be right back. Give me 1 second.
So that's the inequality they want you to set up, right? So you would subtract 12,700 first. They cancel. You get 600Y equal, what's that, 2,300. To get Y by itself, we divide by 600. Right? And let's grab our calculator, make sure we are accurate. Let me clear all this out the way. So 2,300, I'm going to hit ND, 2,300 divided by 600. We get 23 over 6. We want to see that as a decimal, so we get 3.8. But we're not done. So we got to make sure we understand what they want. So I could afford 3.8 years of insurance. But the question is asking how many full years? So we know the number of years is 3.8. But how many full years can she pay for car insurance? 3. Now, is this an inequality? Yes. To me, I wouldn't solve it that way. Or I wouldn't set it up this way. What I would do is I would say, okay, I'm going to do this the common sense way. If I started with 15,000 and I spent 12,700. So I'm just going to subtract. So I know how much money I have left, which is 2,300. I got $2,300 left. If I know I'm spending $600 a year, I just need to divide that by 600. 2,300 divided by 600. Do you still get the 3.8? Yes, you do. But this is how
I
they
did it that way.
algebraically, that's how you solve the inequality. But what they want you to do, the common sense way to me is a lot easier than solving it out algebraically to me,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Or watch this again. I'm gonna use the answers, right? So I'm gonna take my calculator because sometimes when you taking this test, we get nervous, right? Watch this. So I know insurance is 300 per year. So 3. Now that's since we know the answer is 3. Let's start with the last. 25 times 600 plus 12,700. We can't have more than 15,000 because that's all we need to spend.
Mhm.
That's too much. That's not the answer. 21 times 600 plus 12,700. That's not the answer. 4 times 600 plus 12,700. Oh, I'm still over 15,000. 3 times 600 plus 12,700.
I
Oh,
like how you're doing that.
I'm
Yeah,
less.
there you go. You're
I'm
less.
lower than 15,000. So the first way I showed you how to solve it algebraic. The second way I showed you how to solve it using common sense. The third way I told you to solve it is using the multiple choice to substitute in until you know you got a number less than that 15,000.
Yeah, I like that. Thank you for that.
Oh, you're so welcome. So it's more than one way to solve these problems. So one advantage that you have is that if they give you a problem and you have multiple choice answers, you can kind of use those answers to plug them in. Okay. So
Mhm.
that was inequalities. You can use my site to, again. Let me show you the site real quick. Hold on. Let me close this out. Let me put it in. So let me go here. Oops, didn't mean to do that. So kind of a oops. Oh goodness, I'm really messing up. It's really it's really kind of long, but if you
Oh, that's right. It's
canvas.infrastructure.com,
Canvas.
Canvas. Okay. I have.
Okay.
and then
Yeah.
when you press enter, canvas.instructure.com. And then what I would suggest you do is log in with your Gmail. So I can log in with my Gmail.
Okay. I couldn't remember what it was. Okay. I know now.
And then so that way you want to remember passwords or your login. And you see I got a bunch of emails, but I'm going to log in with
Log
this
into
one.
Canvas. Here we go.
So both of you have logged into the site. So what happens is once you start logging in on a regular basis, you'll you'll remember it. And of course, I'm gonna have since I'm the instructor, I'm gonna have a lot of courses on here because I've been designing several courses outside of here. Um, but here we will go to GED Math.
Okay, Mr. Tinsley, I'm in. I found it. I
Okay,
found it.
good, good. And
Thank
then you got
you.
all the practice that you want.
Yeah, so I can go in there and practice because I got 2 weeks before I retest again.
Okay, you took your practice test.
Yeah, I think I got what was my score? I forgot my score on it, but I got a green on it. I've taken the test. The last time I've taken the real test and I missed it by 1 point, but
All right, so that's what I want you to do. Okay, once you hit my site using the concepts that you missed when you took the test or your practice test or
yes.
your real test, I want you to make sure we set up a one-on-one session
Okay.
that way, not only can we cover the things that you got wrong, but also we'll cover um, um, some other problems that give people difficulties. Okay.
Okay,
So we make
okay, I will
sure
do that.
when you take this test, it's the last time.
Okay, yes,
Okay.
that's my goal. Thank you.
No
Mr.
problem.
Tinsley, I went to the site to try to take the practice test, but I thought you said it was $3. Showing me that when I was trying to take it, it said $6.99.
So, all right, let me show you real quick. Let me open it back up. So what she's talking about is if you go to GED.com, right, and you want to take an actual practice test. So I recommend everyone taking a practice test. I really, really do. Because they are the creators of the test. So one of the advantages is the GED Ready math exams are questions from previous exams. Okay, so I need to do this one, and I think it's that one. Let's hope. Hold on. Let me try this. Hold on. I couldn't tell you. I haven't logged in this so long. Okay, that was it. Whew. Okay, so when you go to your GED Ready, if you notice, I went on, go to scores. I went on as a student and took a practice test because I wanted to see what my students were going to learn. So you go here. Where is okay, here goes math right here. It won't let me take it. Okay, I'm gonna go to take GED Ready here. Since I scored high enough, I was actually upset that I didn't get the 200. So I actually sent the email to GED and told them, one of those you got wrong. I ain't lying to you. So when you go here, right? So say you buy a subject, right? So you're gonna go here, you're gonna pick math or whatever subject you're gonna pick,
Right.
English. So I don't remember the code. I know it's one or the other, and I'm gonna show you. This was given to me years ago when I first started, so hopefully it still works. Where it says coupon code. Matter of fact, let me
You know what works for me, Mr. Tinsley? When I use that code, I 50 off.
50,
50 off.
50 off.
Okay.
Right? To me, this is my personal opinion. If I could take 50 off, right, that means I can take one now. I can see what I need to work on. I can practice.
Yeah.
And then I can take another one before I take my exam for the same price or the cost of one.
Right. Okay. That's
So
what
let
I
me
was
go.
trying to do, but I'm like, I could not. I'm like, oh, $6.99, but okay.
So because I couldn't remember whether it was 50 off or all 50. I couldn't remember. So I apologize for that because I
That's
couldn't
okay.
remember.
We got you.
Yeah.
That's okay. It's good.
But to me, using the resources that they have to be able to take a practice test and to be able to take it again before you take it. So to me, that's what I would advise. I would take one, see what I know and I don't know. Then I would use my score report to study those areas that I got incorrect. I would make sure I cover all those areas, and then I would take it again. You will probably see that you will improve your scores. And again, to practice, you can come use my site. So, but even before you take your practice site, let me show you something. Listen, I think I might be up to 13.
I'm just like so confused when I'm looking at it, like where to start. Should I start at the beginning and work my way all the way
Now
down?
you keep asking me that. I told you twice what I need you to do. Right? I said you can either work in sequential order. So what I said
Right,
was
right.
you can either work in sequential order, start with whole numbers and go
Yes,
straight down, score 70, 80 or above. Or
right.
you can take your practice test, see what areas you need to work on,
And
and
go
then
to
go
that.
to those areas here, take a
Okay.
pre-test. Each section got a pre-test. You'll see what you know and you don't know. You got lessons here, you got videos here, you got a bunch of practice here.
Okay. Okay.
And then you work on that subject area till you got it right, then you move on to the next thing. But then when you finish all those weak areas, watch this. Watch this. I'm gonna show you something. Look at all those practice GEDs I had. 1, 2, 3, 4. I didn't call this one, but look at that. I got at least 14. Now, when you see 52, 40, 45, 46, 56, 54, 45, 43, those are full exams. Those are like real GED exams. When you see 14, 20, 21, 29, those are like half. But if you go to any one of these, now if you see ones with feedback, okay, once you take those exams, I'm going to get, there's a video. So if you click here, you click on one with feedback, and you take that practice test. I'm gonna have to show you in the edit version. You take that practice test, I then either have a video or an explanation of how to do the problem.
Right. Right.
That's if it ever shows up. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna go to edit. So you won't see this until you take the test and get it wrong. But what I like about this is why I created this is once you take the test, I give you how you do it. So let me show you. So it says simplify this. Well, you got to use the distributive property. 12a plus 12b plus 8a minus 4b minus 6a minus 12b. And then you got to combine like terms. Ultimately, you get your answer, right? So here, I show you what to do in words. But then for each one, I also give you a short video how to do it. So if you got it wrong and you make a mistake, I'm showing you how to do it. Now, the beauty of it is you can then take the exam again to make sure you know how to do it. Now, all of these are already timed also. If you look here, there's 43 questions. I'm timing you, just like the real exam, 2 hours. So if you don't finish, it's going to cut you off.
That's good.
So this is why. So now, before you even go back and take that second practice session, GED.com, you can take this 5, sometimes unlimited. See, let me see, allow multiple attempts. So you can take it as many times as you want. But then the beauty of it is, I don't just have one. You saw I got 14, 15 of them. And I'm talking about a variety of questions to get you ready. So for example,
Mr. Tinsley, can I ask you a question? Do we sit there when we go take that test? Is it a 2 hour you sitting there to do that test?
yeah, so they give you 2 hours, 120 minutes.
No break in between.
No break unless you ask for accommodation.
Oh,
so look at this. We have evaluation, we have absolute value, we have scientific notation, we have probability, we have radicals, we have a quadratic equation, we have algebraic equation, we have a volume problem, we have a Pythagorean theorem problem, we have a mean problem. Look at all this that I've designed for you to take, for you to practice a system of equations, factoring. So what I did was I tried to cover every type of problem you will possibly see, and then give you the ability to go back over and try it again. I also give you the ability to see what mistakes you made to try it again. All you need is the time. All you need is invest your time. If you invest your time, again, but it has to start. So again, where do I start, Mr. Tinsley? You can either go sequentially and go down. I think that'll take forever.
Yes, I know.
So take a GED ready exam. Okay. It's going to give you your score. It's going to give you a prescription. It's going to let you know what you got wrong. So you then use my site and sites like CUDA and whatever you want to use to practice. So on Mondays, you say, Mr. Tinsley, I got this problem wrong, been working on it. Can you show me how to do it? That's if you don't get the ones with the feedback. I got a video to show you how to do it. And then you just work through. So when you're ready to take your exam, I can tell you right here. If you score, so when you first take my practice exam, you're going to score 50 or 60. You might score 40. Don't get discouraged. That test doesn't count. Just like the GED ready exam, that test doesn't count. You use those exams to find out where your weaknesses are. Then you go practice and you work on those problems. Then you take it again. So the next time you take it, after you go over the feedback, you're going to score like a 60. Then you're going to take it again after going back and practicing. You're going to score like a 75 or 80. Then when you score 75, 80, oh, Mr. Tenzi said an 80 is good. Let me go to the next practice exam without feedback and see how I do, because I want to test myself like a real exam. Then you're going to see what you're going to do. Oh, man, I scored a 70. Well, 70, according to me and you, according to when we were in school, 70 is just average. So you're thinking, well, I don't know this material. Well, guess what? What you still can do is go over the problems you got wrong. You can come to Monday session. You can do a one-on-one session, and then you improve that score. I can guarantee you, if you take three of my practice exams, you score 70 and 80s, go take your exam. You will knock the real exam out. I can almost promise you that. Okay. Look at all the different problems I have. There's another quadratic equation. There's an evaluation. There's an algebraic equation. There's a linear equation from a table. Inequalities. Inequality. Slope of a line. Area of a triangle. Coordinate plane. What's the point? Multiplying binomials. What's the diameter given the area? So every type of question so I didn't just say, okay, what's the volume of this pyramid? I gave you a problem and said, okay, what's the volume of this pyramid? But I might have another volume of question that's asking for the height. So every type of different question that they can ask you, I try to prepare you for. And that's what I try to do. That's why I say this site is free, doesn't cost you anything, it costs you your time. So when you take that GED ready and it tell you probability, I'm going, you know what? Let me take this pretest on probability. Let me learn how to do probability. I got the wrong area and perimeter. Let me take this pretest. Let me make sure I know how to do these. This is all the practice you want. Look at that. Area parallelogram. Oops. I don't know why I just fast forwarded back to the practice test, but there we go. And look all these practice tests you have. Got a bunch of them. So I have so many, and it doesn't matter which one you pick. You can pick any one of them. They're not the same exams. So when I go here, let me preview it. No, let me go edit so you can see the questions. You will see a variety of different questions, right? Look at that. There's a scale problem, which is a proportion problem, right? Algebraic expression, a radical, reading a graph. So you can't really see them here because let me go to preview. Let me go to preview. That way you can actually see how they're going to look. They won't look like that. Look at that. And each question is one at a time. So this is a ratio and proportion problem in a word problem. So it's going to give you practice. Which expression represents this paragraph? A word problem. Simplifying the square root of 80. If you don't know how to do it, I got a video that shows you how to do it, or use your calculator. Okay, that's simplifying a radical. You might have one of those, not a whole lot. How do I read this graph? So what I tried to do is I tried to scour the internet. A lot of my, I made it, there's an inequality. So if I'm since you asked about inequalities, how do I do this problem? First, I'm going to subtract minus 0.1. So I have minus 2x is greater than or equal to 0.6. Okay, what I know right now is that my variables get multiplied by -2. So to get x by itself, I need to divide by -2. Whatever I do on one side, I divide by -2. But Mr. Tenzi said, if I'm trying to isolate the variable and I multiply or divide by a negative, I need to switch my
Flip the sign.
inequality.
Yeah.
Boom. So now I got a minus 0.3 or less than or equal to minus 0.3. So I know it's not greater than. So, but less than minus 3, less than minus 0.4, that's blank. Think of my answer right there. So I give you so many types of problems and so many practice tests. Are you ever going to use 9 of those practice tests? No. What I would say is focus on 2 or 3. Look at that. This is using distributive property, combining like terms, and then solving for x. So if you can do this problem, you can solve most 1, 2-step, and multi-step algebraic equations. So I give you so much here. Look at that.
Yeah, I think I'll be getting overwhelmed when I be looking at stuff. I just gotta take my
So what you have to remember is that when you get overwhelmed, is because you're trying to do too much. Okay, fear is a very powerful emotion.
Yes.
So again, it has to be a plan. So if you take your GED ready and you find out what concepts you need to work on, then you work on one at a time. When you get overwhelmed or you find yourself spending too much time on a problem, send me a text, send me an email, give me a call. Don't get overwhelmed. And you start by saying, I'm not going to get overwhelmed. I need my diploma. Let me work on this. Right? Because just because you don't know how to do something means, okay, I just got to put more practice. You ever went to a job and you didn't learn how to do something? I remember the guy told me, he said, listen, this is when I was younger, how to buff floors. I had to strip floors. I messed the whole floor up. He said, wait. Because I didn't know how to strip floors on the first night. I had to practice and he had to show me. And then I had to practice. So when you come to these sessions here, I'm showing you. So then like we went over inequalities tonight. What I would do if I had a problem with inequalities, you had that question, I would then go to inequalities and I would work on inequalities till I got them to my satisfaction, and then I would move on.
Okay.
I wouldn't wait 3-4 days, because 3-4 days you might forget what I said.
Yeah.
Enough.
Oh, true. Huh.
Look at that. What's the equation line from 2 points? I would tell you, don't waste a week to learn how to do this. I'll show you how in the ebook, how to do this question in 15 seconds. Now, what I want you to know how to do it, if you're going to a community college or 4-year college or a training program, yes. So what I would say is, if you have a step after this, you got to make sure you know it, because you won't be able to use this calculator on any other exam. But this, if you can, this, matter of fact, hold on, let me pause.
I don't know why that one was a little bit more challenging.
So this is the mistake they want you to do. -8, and they want you to take that -8, and everywhere you see x,
you plug it in.
-8. So you get -8
Yeah, that's what I
squared minus 3 times -8. -64 plus 24 minus 40. That's the mistake they want you to make. That is wrong. This is why that's why they tell you to evaluate with a negative almost every time. So when it is true, put a -8 everywhere you see x, but it's -8 in parentheses squared minus 3 times -8. So then -8 times -8 is a positive 64 plus 24 is 88. What I'm saying to you is, you don't have to worry about those mistakes. All you got to do is grab your calculator. Let me clear everything out. Store that variable, -8 store x, enter, plug it in. X squared minus 3x. I don't have to worry about making those mistakes.
Okay.
Now, on the second part of a function, a valid function, is this table a function or not? All you have to remember is for every x, there's only one y. For every x, there's only one y. For every x, there's only one y. When x is 0, I got 2 different y's, not a function. When x is 5, I got two different y's, not a function. When
So
x
the
is
X,
minus 2, I got two different y's, not a function. This is the only table that's a function.
so the X can't duplicate.
The x can't repeat with two different values.
Okay.
Because for every x, there's only one y. People make the mistake is because y is repeated. Doesn't matter. That's not what makes something a function. For every x, there's only one y. It's one of the simplest, easiest problems on the exam and one of the most missed problems on the GED exam. You can almost look at every practice test and you'll see evaluating the function incorrect or identifying one input for output. That's what they're going to say. It's the easiest problem. For every x, there's only one y. So, for example, they might have a graph. So I'm going to graph this right here, right? This is my x. This is my y. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is my negative side. This is my positive side. So 0, negative 4 is right here. 0, 4 is right here. When x is 0, look at that. When x is 0, I got 2 points. It's not a function. So if they gave you a graph, right? And they said this is a lot of times what they do. They'll give you a graph. And they'll give you a point here. They give you a point here. They give you a point here. And they give you a point here. And they give you a point here. And most people, matter of fact, let me erase one of those points. I'm gonna make this point right here. Make this point right here. Right? Most people look at this, I don't know, man. But you gotta remember, for every x, there's only one y. So when x is 4, how many y's do I have? 1. When x is 3, how many y's do I have? 1. When x is 2, I only have one y. When x is 1, how many y's do I have? 2. One of those points have to be removed, or this is not a function. This graph is just another way to say the table. Remember, just like $1 is 4 quarters, 10 dimes, 20 nickels, 100 pennies, or a dollar bill, or two, or Susan B. Anthony, you can say the same thing in different ways. So this table is 0, negative 4, got a point, 0, 4, 2, negative 3, and 2, 3. The same thing. It's the same exact thing, just different ways. Now, this is also 0, comma, minus 4. This is 0, comma, 4. This is 2, comma, minus 3. And this is 2, comma, 3. For every x, there's only one y. That's what you think. When you see that word function on the GED exam, you thinking two things. I'm either going to have to evaluate it, let's see if it's a valid function or not. If I know I don't have to get it evaluated with the examples we just did, then okay, then I need to find if it's valid. For every x, there's only one y. Same x, different y's, not a function. Same x, x is 5, 2 different y's, not a function. Same x, 2 different y's, not a function. That's my last one. I got those two, almost always. Let me pause it. So we talked about inequalities, right? What I would tell you to do in this one is I wouldn't waste my time. I would flag this for review, skip it. I would finish my exam. I would finish every other problem first. Because this is considered a difficult problem. But let me explain something to you. Once you skip this problem, when you go to the next problem, I know the next one is easy. Understand that. Easy, medium, hard. So if I just had a difficult problem that I can't do, I know the next one is easy. What's the difference between maximum and minimum? Max is 150, minimum is 10, 140, I'm done. Now, I show you how to do problems like this in the calculator, but this is just too much. They got decimals, they got fractions. This is going to take you forever. This literally, and this is no exaggeration, This is no hyperbole. This would take you 5 to 10 minutes
If you do it by hand.
if you do it by hand. What I would do is this. Watch this. I'm gonna show you a nice little trick. Watch this. I'm gonna pause it. But watch this. I'm gonna show you a nice